Joe, the band director. I got a brand new saxophone.
Hello guys, so it's that time of the year again. It's a new AUT update, but this time it's not just any AUT update. This time they dropped the brand new Delta spec, which to my knowledge took about 5 years or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard it's been used for 5 years and it's finally here. So yeah. Now the thing is, the obtainment method is so long to the point where I still haven't obtained it. I'm still in this quest line for Nuclear Star, but anyway, that's beside the point. Today I'm going to be showcasing both specs and the best obtainment for both. So let's just get started with the video. Here we are at using Crystalized. So this is how it looks like with the axe, off stand, and this is how it looks like on stand. Honestly, pretty cool. So anyway, we're just gonna get to testing. So we have this thing, Fortify. I believe that basically it activates this ability, which gives you more defense. I think so. So anyhow, on to the first move, which is December. So it does a barrage of axes attack, and it does bleeding damage afterwards. So it's pretty good to start a combo or actually finish it, since it does send your enemies a bit further. Next move is Piercing Lunge, be a bit further than the opponents. Follows it up with an axe and with a crystal attack. It doesn't do any status element damage afterwards. So yeah. Our next move is Crystalline Volley. It's a range attack that sends a horde of crystalline, and it does bleeding damage, as you can see. Our next move is... Okay, so on to the next move is Burrowing Quake. What it does is it gets you basically is underneath the ground and you attack them like that. So yeah. Anyway, so this move, Fissure Rupture, which basically summons sort of a vine, then follows it up with an attack like this. Now it slows down the opponents, I believe, and it does burn damage. Extends all the way to 67 damage. Let me check if my stats are max. They're not max, but it's around that damage, Now on to these. Infused Gemstone. Now what it does is it allows you to use one of these two gemstones, which if you don't understand the ability, each I think it comes from silica composition, and each one basically can have their own properties of stuff, and gives you some buffs, I believe. I'm not sure of the ability yet, so tell me in the comment section down below if I am screwing it up, but yeah. And then B plus Cycle Gemstone. What it does is it switches with the gemstone, and then you can use it afterwards, as you can see. This does add burn damage, so yeah. Anyway, so on to the stand. First move is Barrage, your traditional barrage of attack. It does burn damage, as you can see here. 73 damage, dang, that's a lot. And then Visceral Strikes. You strike the opponents, and it does bleeding damage afterwards. Oh no. Okay, so here we are back. So we're going to continue to showcase. Earlier some technical difficulties happened, so yeah. Also, a quick correction real quick. Fortify basically gives you increases the amount of health you have, I believe. So if you have 500 plus 150, that's like 650 now. Nice. So yeah, you can already see that Crystalized is pretty tanky, if I do say the least. So on to our next move, which is Prismatic Lance. As you can see, this move has a ricochet effect, where basically if it hits a wall or anything, it bounces somewhere else. I think you already know what ricochet is. Then we have Radiant Meltdown. which is basically a small arena effect, if you want to call it like that. Anyhow, so for our ultimate, Crystalized, you fuse with the stand, and you become this really cool ass thing. As you can see, it has a time limit. So for our first move, it is a dominant slash. You dash forward, and you send a slash, which I believe marks the opponent. Then we have relentless impact as our two new moves. So anyway, my bad for those technical difficulties, but yeah, let's check out the counter, which is called Crystal Reprisal, I believe. So, you know, it's a counter. Let me just this is how it looks like. It summons it counters it with a crystal. You know, pretty cool, pretty simple and everything. So yeah, that's about it for Crystallize. Moving on to our next one. Anyway, so now it's time for your favorite, I guess, if you want to call it that way, Nuclear Star, or Star Nuclear, or Nuclear something. So for our first move, Entangle You, which, as you can see, chains them, I believe. Now for our next move is Neuron Toss, which is a range attack that summons the stars, and then you can attack them from a distance. So next one is Nuclear Tempo, which is basically sort of a beatdown move, I believe, or something like that. Then we have Collapsing Uppercut. It's an uppercut. So it's not like most uppercuts, it doesn't like send you flying or something. I don't know. Okay, and then we have Acceleration Drive, which, since this is like unique main inhibit of all this thing, it makes sense onto why it has a speedy move. So now it's time to move on to the moves with the spec. First move is Use Your Imagination. Honestly, they should have just renamed this thing to Barrage. Then we have Take It, which is your heavy attack. The Hypernova Blast. I think it leaves them marked. And then Nuclear Star. I believe it needs a bit of heat, so you know, let's get some heat like real quick. I think now we can use it, so let's do it. Still need a bit more heat. Okay, let's use it. This is, by the way, maybe one of the best animations ever. We're just violating him. This reminds me of All Might against All Might versus All for One, bro. So yeah. Then we have Collapsing Slam, which basically has a pull effect. It pulls them into this area over here. Self-destruct is a move that can only be used when you're low on HP. Nuclear Storage is a counter, which this is how it looks like when you fail. Your own stand punches you, which ouch, that was really painful. Anyways, then we have the move Self-Destruct, which it forces upon the destruction, as you can see, and it does damage to nearby opponents into that meteor radius, as you saw there. you can do it on now this move is like on command then off command. Off command is when you die, it does the same thing. It's just the move itself is just if you want to use it on purpose basically. But you have to be in between 10 to 50 HP if you want to use this move. So yeah. Then we have the counter nuclear storage, which basically just punches them and sends them flying. So yeah, this is overall how a nuclear star looks like. This is how both look like with the this how nuclear star looks like with the pose. You know, pretty sick. I like those stars. And this is how crystallized looks like with off stand, and on stand it looks like this. So yeah, in my opinion, which one looks overall better? Well, looks wise, I prefer crystallized any day of the week. But which one is better in PvP? Can't really know. It kind of depends on two things. One, your style in PvP, and two, it also depends on the overall preference. Not gonna lie. So I would say crystallized has an edge because of its defenses and stuff. As you can see, this thing just increases his HP. Oh yeah, also, before I forget, here are the passives before, you know, if you want to pause and read them out, you can have fun and read them out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then cool. Just please. Anyway, so if you enjoyed this video, please comment down below what your next suggestion for the next game is. Now, I am still going to upload about Delta, you know, showcase overall, and I'm even gonna overall how to get it, and I'm even going to upload my overall opinions on this entire update, since this update is huge, not just any update. So yeah, this is Certified Pro, and see y'all in the next one. Peace.